From an early age, I have always had a strong interest in cameras, be it photography, videography, or 3D and graphic design. I'm always experimenting. I originally got the idea from a show called iCod, which featured random videos from YouTube and any other corner of the web. They showed an elaborate short film forged completely from Legos.
We're all gonna die!
It's like a year-round miniature Sundance festival.
That's Billy Gribbon. He and his friends spent more than a year creating this film. Each video more human than the next.
Hey Zach, it's Brendan.
At the time, I thought this was the coolest thing ever. I did some research and found some tutorials on Lego stop motion. Filming on a Sony point-and-shoot and editing in Windows Movie Maker, I managed to put together a few simple yet entertaining sequences. I became a huge fan of the YouTube channel Freddy W, a channel which at the time was the only group of people exporting professional-looking content to YouTube that I was actually interested in. Cinematography aside, the channel's main draw is visual effects, and that is what sparked my interest in CGI. Starting with basic community tutorials put up by Freddy W, I came to understand basic compositing, which I did in an old copy of Final Cut Express. It didn't take long to figure out I was ill-equipped, so a birthday, a Christmas, and a dozen car washes later, I had a copy of Adobe After Effects, and some time after that I began accumulating a library of visual effects. I worked my way from basic muzzle flares to an explosion, with a few drafts tweaking the settings to further sell the effect. I stumbled on the website Video Copilot, a site led by After Effects god Andrew Kamer. It was here that I began to understand the role of 3D in visual effects. I got a copy of Cinema 4D and started my first project, where I combined shaky footage with a really fast jet flyover to achieve the look of a blurry thing that kinda looks like a jet. Needless to say, it went better than expected. This is what sparked my interest in motion graphics and animation. With time, I became more and more impressed with the level of visual quality I was able to produce. Regardless, after comparing my projects with those of Freddy W and other YouTube channels, I noticed mine were lacking from a linear and cinematography standpoint. I began to study these channels, as well as movies. It is here I developed an in-depth interest in the camera. I stumbled onto a weekly channel called Film Riot, which every week offered up brilliant tips and tricks that were camera directed. Unfortunately, my hobby transitioned from longer skits and renders to short video texts. Experimenting with different lenses, picture styles, dynamic range configurations, and other camera settings became one of my favorite and primary focuses. Looking forward, my biggest and yet most hated question is, where do I direct my focus, and where do I want to go?